Hello and welcome to the New York Sports. I'm your host, Dominic Conch. We have a very special guest on here today. We have Robbie Noonan, Raceday2011. Hello and welcome to the NYSS.
Pleasure to be here. You almost kind of did an intro kind of like myself there. I'm glad to be a little bit of inspiration to that intro. So hey everybody, this is Robbie Noonan, Raceday2011. You probably well know me from my diecast reviews, my social media posts. I'm glad to be on here. I'm glad to be on with you, my friend. I'm glad that you're involved in motorsports yourself. There's not a lot of people in our demographic area that are involved in racing. So it's good to have somebody who is a fellow motorsports fan be able to talk to you and talk to the lovely people in our audience. And, of course, I'll be promoting this myself so we can get some more viewership on the way.
Yeah, I thank you for being on. I love to have people on, talk NASCAR, especially me. I live in Connecticut, so it's not a big state for NASCAR. So half of the people in my school don't even know what NASCAR is, which is kind of funny in a bad way. So it's nice doing this, being able to talk about the sport. Yeah, let's get into things. So, I don't know if you saw the truck race last night, but I hope you did, because it was such a good race. We saw Greg Biffle get his first win in the truck series since 2001, which came at ISM. What did you think about that?
I thought it was pretty cool, this is how it played out yesterday. I was actually on a call helping a friend of mine out who was going to the Michigan race on Sunday, and while we were programming his camera, we found out Greg Biffle won the race, which is in itself a very cool thing that happened because here's the thing that goes on here. We always talk about how the young generation is the new people coming in, like this is what NASCAR needs, this is what the sport needs, we need the young guys coming in. Well, the old guys, they haven't lost their speed. I mean, if you put Greg Biffle in a good car or a good truck in this case, he's going to win it in.
Yeah.
We always talk about, how, Haley Deegan or Todd Gilliland, Harrison Burton, I'm going to just throw names out there, Tyler Reddick or people like that are the future. Granted, they are the future and all that, but people need to realize that these guys who are in their mid-40s, some of them are in relatively good shape, and they haven't lost a bit of speed. And I think last night was a big statement in that factor.
Yeah, definitely. Greg Biffle, he hasn't even been in any type of race car since 2016 when he had his final race at Homestead, Miami for the NENCS, which was then the Sprint Cup Series. That was just a great race. Great job for Greg Biffle. Now let's talk about him racing at Iowa and Gateway. Both races would be with KBM, of course. Now, that was just such a good race. Congratulations to him.
He drove a very good race, too. It wasn't like it was like a fuel mileage thing. And more than me, I think he was up front majority of the end of the race, which on merit, that looks good on your record because, and quite frankly, if I were those young guys, Todd Gill and Harrison Burton, I'd be fearing for my job a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely, because Kyle Busch, I'm not a big Kyle Busch fan. If people who are watching this, you know me, you know my videos, I don't like Kyle Busch. But Kyle Busch, that was one of the smartest things he could do. Todd Gilliland, and they haven't been performing in the 51, so he puts in Greg Biffle, a seasoned veteran in basically every series in NASCAR for the top three, and he wins in his first race back since 2016. That is 3 years that he hasn't really even touched the race car, basically, and he goes out and wins his first race back. Now, yes, he's in good equipment with KBM, but just because you're in good equipment doesn't mean you're going to win every race. It's the driver that has to drive the car into victory lane.
It goes both ways, because in motor racing, it's not solely on the one individual athlete, whereas the driver in this case, you've got to have equipment underneath you, which is essentially a 50-50% of the chance you have of winning a race. But, we have cases where we have drivers who underperform in good equipment. And then we have some drivers in case where they outperform their equipment. And both of those play a factor in how your race results come in. So to have a good combo like that is what leads to race victories and ultimately championships. Because you see in all of racing where, you have somebody who is a crap driver, I don't want to point out people's names, but some people, they don't deserve the rides they get, and they have these top-notch rides, and most of them lead to either crashing a car or leading to a 20th place finish every week, when you could throw somebody in there who can set up the car very well, and they can make that 20th place car a top 5 car.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Now, going on to Richard Petty Motorsports, it's been no secret that they are struggling in many ways out on the track and out in the garage financially and everything. What do you think is going to happen after the season? I don't think Dale Wallace Jr. is going to be in the 43 next season. They've just been struggling way too much. I don't even picture them being in a full-time team next season, if anything.
This is a really tough question because, not in retrospect that Richard Petty Motorsports, there's no secret to them that they have been struggling. And in the future that I saw in them, quite frankly, I did not see them competing this summer full-time, to be honest with you, until Victory Junction Gang came in. And, I don't know if you guys know Victory Junction Gang, but that's essentially Richard Petty funding it all out of his own pocket, pretty much. It's not really the grand sponsorship they're looking for,
Yeah.
Unless if they find money and they find money fast, I really don't see them being a full-time ride. And if I were Darrell Wallace Jr., I would go out and call people out right now. I would try to find rides for next year because you don't know what your job's going to be like in 2020.
Exactly. Dale Wallace Jr., he's a great driver. He's won multiple times in both the Truck and Xfinity Series. I'm not trying to down Richard Petty Motorsports, but they just don't have it anymore. The last win was with Eric Alamola back in the 2014 Wayne Shorten Daytona race. They just haven't had anything.
Well, here's the thing with Richard Petty Motorsports, and this is the beef I have with them, and this is also the beef I have with Jack Roush. Let me tell you something. Richard Petty's got all the money in the world, but it's no secret that he's a modestly wealthy guy. So is Jack Roush. I don't know if you noticed, but Jack Roush has multiple businesses and motorsport itself. He has a lot of car dealerships. He has a lot of money flowing in. You have this great ability in NASCAR, and this is what I like about the NASCAR racing series as what I am, a sports car and open wheel guy, where it's mostly spec racing these days. You have money and technology to develop the car as you go along. So Richard Petty Motorsports has always been a team where they have the money, but they didn't want to spend it.
Yeah.
And this is the same scenario with Roush. Because when I was in my youth, Roush was the team you want to drive for. If you walked up to a guy at a racetrack and you say, "Hey, I work for Jack Roush," like, "Oh, you work for Jack Roush? My God, that's cool." People were like, that was like the team to work for. It was like you worked for Hendrick, you worked for Roger Penske, you had great caliber if you worked for Roush Fenway Racing. And all of a sudden, Roush didn't want to spend the money when they came to the new generation car. They didn't want to spend the money developing it, and now look at them. They are a 25th place team every weekend.
Yeah.
You have to spend the money to make the money. It's a cool business. It really is. You got to invest in your car to research and develop it, and also to keep, up with the competition. Because honest to God, with the Generation 7 car coming up in a couple years, I don't know when the release date of that car is going to be, but everybody's got equal playing fields, yes, but, the people who spend the money researching and developing the car, which in this particular case in NASCAR, is going to be Joe Gibbs Racing, Roger Penske, and to a degree Hendrick Motorsports. Those guys are going to be up in the front, and they're going to be winning races off the gate because they're the ones who are spending the money putting into the car. And people like Richard Petty Motorsports, if they're still around at that point, and Roush Fenway Racing, they're still in the back because, you know, they're not spending the money that they have.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said, you gotta spend money to make money. Richard Petty, he could easily do that. I mean, they're struggling big time. I just don't know I don't think even they know what their team is going to be like in the next couple of years, even next season. It's going to be very interesting. Now,
it's going to be incredibly interesting. You're right.
Oh, no, you could go.
No, you go ahead. You're good.
Okay, I was just going to say, what's your opinion on NASCAR, like, altogether?
Here's what I've always said the past couple of years, you know, I've been a fan since 97. Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, so I've been a fan for a long time. You know, I've seen the likeness of, you know, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Jared Bobby Labonte race, and, you know, I was the little kid. I was enthused by them, and I thought that, you know, at that point in particular time, NASCAR was at its prime, and it was really the gold standard of auto racing in the United States. You know, you had people come in from all over the world to come compete in NASCAR, and that was where you made your statement in the United States. Nowadays, I feel like, you know, the direction of the sport is not going in the right direction, of course. Yeah. You know, I think in the raw aspect of NASCAR racing, the racing is still, in its raw product, very good. It's just that I do not like the people who run it. I think the people who run it seem like they're incompetent of what they're doing. I mean, the issues that the common NASCAR fan faces are clear as day. They make it verbal, and it seems like they ignore the issues that really are facing. And, you know, I always say I wish I had the money to hand a check over to Steve O'Donnell or Jim France and have me take over, because I know, you know, what the issues are. You know, I just think that the only thing we really need is you need people who are running the sport, who genuinely care about it, and those who really put the passion and the effort into it. Because all you need is a few people who know what they're doing, and the results will be shown.
Exactly. I mean, NASCAR, their ratings have been declining ever since 2004 is when they really started, and they're still going down little by little. It's just, I mean, they used to be the lead in the motorsport world. I mean, I remember there was one point where all the open wheel guys wanted to go in the mid to late 2000s, and now like it's just declining in attendance and in TV ratings and in everything. It's just under a poor ownership.
Exactly. It all boils down to who runs it, what they're going to do, and the overall effect it has on the drivers, the team, and the fans. Because it seems like whoever's running it these days is more particularly thinking about the entertainment value, or what we call, in retrospect, the casual fan. Whereas, you know, diehards like myself and you know, it's great that, you know, having somebody who's in your generation still relatively liking motorsports, because a lot of kids these days, they're not into racing, and I don't know why that is. Maybe that's because, you know, we can name many different things in the book, but having the younger generation get involved in the sport at a young age is what's going to help it, because that, you know, lifelong fans are the best kind of fans. You know, yeah. I think that as long as you have people who know what they're doing, they know what's good for the overall palate, they please the people who are the lifelong fans, you know, whether it's myself and you, then I think you'll make a lot of people very happy. And I think what they should start doing is cater to those people who are lifelong ticket holders, who have been ticket holders for 30-something years, who know what the issues are and what is good overall for the health of the sport. Because this air package that they have today definitely is aiming towards more of a casual fan who likes to see 43 cars in a blanket. You know, whereas myself and you like to see the ultimate strategy be played out, see people, comers and goers, you know, like to see who has the fastest car the overall weekend. That to me is interesting. Like, I'm heavily interested in going to a racetrack and seeing the cars being developed over the course of the weekend and be like, oh, this guy was not fast in practice, but yet in race trim, they have the best car. And look who wins the race, the guy who calls the best strategy on pit road. Sometimes you have a late race yellow, and whoever's the brains in the pit road comes up with a good strategy, and they're the ones winning the race. Or some cases, fuel mileage, where you may not have the best car all weekend, but guess what? You saved enough fuel, and you're the one who's sipping the champagne. Meanwhile, the guy who was leading the whole race is sitting in the garage area like, what did we do wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I know me and many other people, we don't like the new EO package. Strategy is everything, and I just feel like it just takes that out. I really don't like this new EO package. And just like you were saying, I mean, we're both diehard NASCAR fans. I can remember the first NASCAR race I saw. That was back in 2012, the Richmond race. I mean, it's just, NASCAR is dying, and it just seems like the owners just don't care about it.
And there's a lot of fans that do care about it, and that's what's really bothering everybody is that, you have a bunch of passionate fans that are really into the sport, and quite frankly, those who find their livelihoods involved in racing. I can tell you this, growing up in suburban New Jersey, there really wasn't a lot of racing particular fans around the area, and to find people who are into motorsports is, all my best friends are online, and they're all racing people. That's the people I met. I didn't meet my best friend until I met him in college, which was, my friend Brian, original Big Brian. And that was all because of racing,
Yeah.
And it's like, you put that element away, you're not only talking about taking away people's, Sunday afternoons, you're talking about taking people's livelihoods away. And, a lot of these people, who are so passionate involved in racing is because, their lives revolve around it. And quite frankly, that's a good thing because you see all in today's world people doing bad things and stuff, where if you have a great hobby as far as like racing or what you do with your podcast, you're talking like people can stay out of trouble because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, going on to another topic, I know the 24 hours of Le Mans is coming up. What do you think about that? Like, do you have any picks for that or no?
Oh, of course I do. This is my first year attempting the 24 hours. I've always done the 24 hours at Daytona, and I think myself and original Big Brian want to actually go to the 24 hours at Daytona this year. But next year, excuse me. But for Le Mans, you can't rule out the WEC team of Toyota Gazoo Racing because you got Fernando Alonso competing in that car. You have Mike Conway in that car, and they're the only hybrid technology car where if they give you extra horsepower with the hybrid technology. But if you really ask me, I think that the Toyotas are not going to last the 24 hours, and you're going to see a privateer team such as Rebellion Racing or the people of Dragon Speed win the race, which is something I would like to see because I am a Rebellion Racing fan, along with my friend Kevin. We like to see them win. In the GT classes, however, it's the last year for Ford because Ford is not going to be at Le Mans next year. They're actually going to go prototype racing in America. And this is the last year we'll be seeing factory-supported Ford GTs. So I would like to see the Fords win it in the GT classes. If not, then I really like to see Porsche win it. Porsche has some of the best-sounding cars on the grid.
Yeah, definitely Porsche. I love their cars. It would be great to see Ford get a win. Now, just one more question. Out of all the diecasts you've reviewed over the years on YouTube, what's your favorite one?
It's a very sentimental one. So I'll tell you the story about this one. So, I'm a big fan of the Indianapolis 500, and the 2013 Tony Kanaan won the race. And, I was planning to buy that diecast in general. That came about because the year before Tony Kanaan won the race, my grandmother passed away, and she left, as a last birthday gift, she left me and my sister some money to buy whatever you want. And so that was the last gift my grandmother got me, was the Tony Kanaan 2013 Indy 500 winner, and it's still sitting on my shelf right here. And believe me, that's not going to be seen in public ever again. The next time you'll be seeing that is if you walk in my diecast room and you see it. But that's like the last living memory I have of my grandma, and that's the Tony Kanaan winner. So that is my personal favorite diecast, and that's something that is going to be hold dear to me the rest of my life. And as far as other diecasts go, I would also say my Rusty Wallace 2004 Martinsville winner was up there too, because I've idolized Rusty Wallace growing up as a kid, and I still do. Rusty is still my guy, and I met him for the first time in my life at Pocono, and I was afraid to meet him because it's like I idolized him for so many years. What if he's not the type of guy who's on camera? What if he's not a nice guy in general? What happens if he's not the guy I knew on camera?
Yeah.
When I met him, dude, it was like talking to your friend. He was such a nice guy. And I don't know who your favorite driver is, but I hope that when you meet your favorite driver, you have the same experience, because when you have the validation that they're just as nice off the camera as they are on camera, that makes a world of difference for you. I grew up idolizing Rusty Wallace, and now that I have his autograph in person, and I met him, and I can say, that dude was a nice guy. I had the privilege of saying that, and hopefully it has the same thing happen to you and to all the viewers watching this who can finally meet their favorite driver, because there is nothing like meeting your favorite driver for the first time, because you become connected to them now.
Yeah, for me personally, my favorite driver is the Double Z of Landon Cassill. I love the underdogs, and I've really always been a Landon Cassill fan. Now, and personally for me, my favorite diecast is the 2014 Josh Wise number 98 Dogecoin car. I think
that is a rare one.
Yeah.
We're finding that on eBay for retail price.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I see them go on eBay for about $90, $100.